It's a pleasure.
And so we have our next GOAT MSP, who is one of my favorites. His name is Joshua, aka Josh, and he is the community tech leader who is passionate about hardware or electronics engineering and AI with a drive to address the local issues with the skills and knowledge he has acquired over the years. He is also an electrical engineering student focusing in digital electronics, embedded electronics, and semiconductor devices. Josh is the co-founder of Wild Ike, which is a platform that seeks to reduce human-wildlife conflict. Josh, would you like to take it away? Or not?
Just whilst we wait, does anyone have anything they feel like, you know, the MSP program has brought them specifically, you know, in terms of that you wouldn't find anywhere else? Oh, we have Joshua. Yeah, so let us know in the chat, and we'll be passing on to Joshua now.
All right.
Hi, Joshua.
Hi, Simon.
All right. How's it going, Josh? How you doing today?
I'm doing well. Doing great.
Doing well. I know you're from Kenya.
Yeah.
I don't know what time it is over there.
It's 4 minutes past 7 p.m.
So evening. It's crazy. Yep. Right across the world. But yeah, I'm sure you have a really great presentation prepared. So, Sal, if you would like to bring up these slides.
Yeah. So I think, Joshua, do you have the slides on you?
All right. Okay. Let me just then share them with you.
Yeah. So while we're waiting, there are actually a few questions in the chat. So let's just get to one of them, I guess. So the most recent one is, how do you break your fear or introvert personality? Do you guys have any pressing answers to that one?
Is this for everyone?
Yeah, just anyone. How do you break your fear or introvert personality?
So personally, myself, I have always, you know, been into the psychology of people and, you know, interaction. So I know, so like, you know, you might start off as like a very introverted person or someone who's like not used to social situations, but you know, it's all about just putting yourself out there. Like if there's the only way you're going to get better at these things, I feel, is just practicing. Okay, and you don't want to have fear of going out to meet people. So you just throw yourselves into the situations. It's like learning a new language. You go and dive in deep end, and you eventually, you know, you get the hang of it. Yeah, that's what I would say. What about you, Sandra?
Agreed. Like just as you said, like just do it. Don't fear it. Like, because if you have succeeded in one thing, I know like you would never look back if you succeed in that. So like just one principle. If you are thinking to do it and you want to do it, just do it. Don't think of anything else.
All right. So Josh, please take it away. It appears that we are having a little technical difficulties, but...
So my name is Joshua. Yeah, I prefer going with the name Josh. So I am from Kenya, and I'm an electrical engineering student at one of our universities, at Dedan Kimathi University. I'm currently pursuing electrical and electronics engineering, currently in my 5th year. On top of that, I'm a .NET developer, as well as an IoT engineer, and a Gold Student Partner. So I should be sharing with you my journey in tech and how I made it to be a Gold Student Partner. And my journey in tech began in 2016 after I completed high school. And my dad purchased me my first PC. And the PC came pre-installed with Windows 7, and I upgraded it to Windows 10. And that was the beginning of my journey in tech. You know, I loved Windows, the way it was easy to use. And I joined campus, my university, in 2016 in August. And at that point, that's when I found a guy who told me he he codes in C# and builds Windows applications. And I loved Windows, and like I found a guy who built Windows apps. I was like, wow, I need to get started on doing this. And so in 2016, I started learning C#, and learning C# led to starting knowing other Microsoft technologies such as Azure. And in 2017, I began now, learning programming seriously, and began taking some Xamarin courses back then on Xamarin University. So during the day, I was an electrical engineering student, and during the night, I was an MVA and Xamarin University student. So MVA and Xamarin University have been retired. Back then, MVA was the Microsoft Virtual Academy, and the Xamarin University was a platform where you could learn Xamarin for building mobile apps. And in this time, I started attending hackathons, which were organized by clubs in my university. So one of the tech clubs in my university was organizing these hackathons. And on top of attending and participating hackathons, I also did attend tech events, which were organized by student ambassadors from Google. So I did attend the GDG events, and also the AI events organized by Intel student ambassadors. And all this time, participating in these different activities and these different hackathons and events, I was a guy who really loved Microsoft Tech, because like for more than half a year, I had been learning C# and Azure, and also some IoT and AI on Azure. And I was like, I also need to start sharing some of this information to my fellow students. And at that point, I and a friend, we began a small community within my school, which we call the C# developers community. And so what we did with this small community, we used to bring students together and train them how to program in C#. But I really still felt if I had, like a company or an institution backing me up, I would have had a larger influence. And so I started looking into, are there any Microsoft student ambassadors, like the way I've seen ambassadors, from other companies such as Google and Intel? And so that's where my quest to become a student partner began. And so in 2018, I started looking for ways in which I could apply to the Microsoft Student Partner Program. And early 2018, I found this website and I applied to the Microsoft Student Partner Program. So I applied in March 2018, and 2 months later, I still did not receive any. I did not receive any response for my application. And so in May, I sent another application, and also in August, I sent 2 more applications. So like in total, I applied 4 times, and it's around somewhere in August, but I guess it was the last week of August, I received an email from one of the team MSP operations team, and they told me like they've received 4 different applications and they're looking into it. And so like I was okay, fine. So at least someone has seen my application. And so somewhere around the last week of September 2018, I received an email being told I was invited into the MSP program. And later on in October, this is the first few weeks of October, I was enrolled onto the Microsoft Student Partner Program. And so 2 weeks later, after joining the MSP program, I organized my first event, which was an Azure IoT workshop. And after organizing the workshop, which was a 2-day workshop, I was invited by another student from Multimedia University, which is a different university in my country. And they told me like, Josh, we saw you organized a Microsoft students event in your university. Will you be kind enough to do the same in our university? And so I traveled to Multimedia University in December 2018, and we had an Azure IoT workshop also at Multimedia University. And after Multimedia University, a student from a separate university called Jomo Kenyatta University reached out and told me they would like me to do a similar event in their institution. And so I did the same now in February 2019. I organized a similar event. And so this now became the trend. Like students were reaching out and telling me, hey, Josh, will you like do this for us? Will you like organize a Microsoft students event in our university? And so most of these universities, I couldn't travel to where they were. And so for universities that were way far from where I was, I used to organize online events on Microsoft Teams. And so like I will have a virtual event and I will explain to them, just, talk about technology, and mainly revolved around Azure, IoT, AI, and .NET. And if at the end of every session, I used to encourage students, hey, you can do what I'm doing now. You can be a student partner, a Microsoft student partner, just like I am at the moment. And so I kept doing that, and also the small community we had begun at my university had begun growing, and we had more and more members registering. And at that time, we said, now it's not just going to be a C sharp, a C sharp, small C sharp developers community, but we transformed it to be the MSP community. And so, having the MSP community in my university, I also reached out to other MSPs, because when I was joining the MSP program in 2018, we were only 4 of us. So I reached out to other MSPs and told them, hey, we can like build an MSP Kenya community. And so we did that, and we created the meetup page, and we started now reaching out to other students, telling them, okay, we have our meetup page and you can now join us there, and we'll be doing more events around there. And so I continued organizing events, and by March 2018, I had reached out to more than 8 different institutions, both in person and virtually. And it was at this time not March 2019, and it was at this time in March 2019 that I was selected to attend the MSP Summit that was held in Amsterdam. And I attended the summit in Amsterdam, and I met other Microsoft student partners, of course, who have been really helpful in my journey as an MSP. We've collaborated with some on online events, and during this summit, I also had an opportunity to meet Pablo Veramendi, who is the global program manager for the MSP program. And during the summit, I reached out to Pablo and told him, I would like to organize a hackathon in my university. I had seen other students, other student ambassadors organize events, and I really wanted to have an impact, students using some of these technologies to solve local challenges, because that has been my slogan for a very long time. Whatever I learn, I have to use it, to solve challenges in my community. And so Pablo accepted to support me, and I organized my first hackathon after the summit. So after coming from the EMEA summit, I had a phase of 2 months where I planned for the hackathon. That was done in collaboration with the local MSP, with the local Microsoft head office in Kenya. And so I organized my first hackathon. This was a 48 hours hackathon, 48 hours straight, and it brought over 72 participants from 8 different institutions in my university for the 48 hours. And students built solutions, that really impacted our communities. And some of these solutions are already in production. I know 2 teams that participated in that hackathon that already have their products or their solutions from that hackathon already in production. And during the hackathon, when we were ending up during the hackathon, I kept encouraging other students, you can be Microsoft student partners too. You can do things, what I'm doing in your local universities also. And after that, I know several other MSPs, several other students who applied to be MSPs after the hackathon. And the hackathon was organized somewhere around July 2019. And 2 weeks later, after organizing the hackathon, I was selected among the 10 global winners for the Insider to Campus tour. So this was a program from the Microsoft Windows Insider. And I was among the 10 winners. And because of these, I was selected to go to the Microsoft campus in Redmond, Washington for 1 week. And apart from just going to Microsoft campus, the Microsoft headquarters, I also had a chance to participate in the largest private hackathon in the world, which is the Microsoft 1 Week Hackathon. And participating in that hackathon, I met other Microsoft employees, and members of the Microsoft, of the Windows Insider team, and also interns at Microsoft. And this was really one of the impactful moments of my life, because like interacting with all these individuals really enabled me understand what I would really like to pursue, especially in my line of career. So this was that one amazing opportunity, at the Microsoft headquarters. So after coming back from the um, from the Windows Inside contest, after coming from the US, I did also organize my second hackathon. That was called the Hack Assembly, which combined both a ladies only hackathon and also another main hackathon that had participants. And after doing these two hackathons and the impact they had, students from a different institution reached out to me. So that was a new institution, an institution close to my own, and they requested, like, we would like mentorship, to know how to organize community events. And so I started running the mentorship program from 2019, from around 2019 September all the way to 2019 December, and in 2020 January, I was selected among the gold MSPs. So together with the other MSPs, I was selected to be a gold student partner. And also, this will give me a new opportunity also. Last year, Microsoft had launched the Africa Development Center in Kenya and in Nigeria. And so shortly after I was selected to be a gold student partner, the Microsoft developer audience lead Africa, he's called Lawrence, linked me up with one of the members of the Microsoft Africa Development Center. And so interacting with the Microsoft Africa Development Center, they like told me, hey Josh, we see you doing some cool stuff and would like to partner with you. So that was the beginning of now, like whatever I was doing as an MSP, we partnered with the ADC and they started helping us run our events. And last month in March, we organized our first MSP tour, whereby we brought all MSPs to the ADC. So the ADC, the Africa Development Center, we brought all the MSPs and they had one full day, not like a full day because they were traveling for the morning part, but they spent some time with the Microsoft engineers and Microsoft employees. And after that day, the next day, I had an opportunity to interact with the managing director for the Microsoft Africa Development Center, that is Jack Ngare. And I also had an opportunity to do a fireside chat with the managing director for the Africa Development Center and the CEO for the Technobrain Group. And, interacting with these individuals and, having a talk with them for those 2 days, the previous day when we were all MSPs and the day where we were doing the fireside chat, gave me an opportunity, to really understand how the industry itself operates. So like whatever I had invested into the MSP program, I finally started seeing it pay off. That has been my journey, since when I really wanted to join into tech and how I joined it and the opportunities it really gave me. So that has been my experience within the MSP program and also with the interaction in other Microsoft activities. And to wind up my talk, there's this question whether was it very easy for you to get there. Definitely it wasn't as easy as that, because like there were challenges along the way. Like, for example, in my university, we couldn't get catering for the events. Like all the activities organized in my university for the whole of 2018 and half of 2019, there was no catering because like the catering company could not deliver the meals to my university because it's way far. And so I had to figure out how will I sustain community? Some people are coming to your events and they might spend close to half a day and then they'll still live there, maybe even without lunch. And you really have to give them reason to participate in your activities. On top of that, at the moment I can organize an event like the previous in-person event I organized in my university. I had a turnout of 102 students. But when I was starting off, I remember there was a time we organized an event at University of Nairobi, and we expected 200 participants, and only 4 turned up. But you're expecting 200 participants. I had already invited speakers from Microsoft, and only 8 people turned up for that. It was quite discouraging, but that really didn't kill my motivation to be a community leader. So it wasn't always easy, balancing schoolwork and balancing my personal life and the MSP activities. It wasn't always easy, but with that little bit of commitment, putting commitment ahead, and you really want to do this, it's possible to do it. And I would like to wind up with with a quote from the developer audience lead Africa, Lawrence. He says, like, it's easy to hold back, to make yourself average to fit in. So I say, don't go all out, own your weirdness. The world is too full of the average. So if you really feel you'd like to be a community tech lead, if you really feel you'd like to have that impact in your community, just don't sit back, go out and do it. Everyone, people like staying at their comfort zones, but until you get out of your comfort zone and, believe you can do it, that's the only way you can. I mentioned we had a meetup, we started the meetup community back then in 2018. And with the help of all the other MSPs who have joined, we were able to we have now over 1,000 members on Meetup. And currently we are more than 42 MSPs in the country. And at least I know I know more than 20 MSPs. If I'm not wrong, it's either between 18 to 20 MSPs out of the 42 plus MSPs in Kenya are MSPs that I mentored once I went to the universities. So if you want to have that impact in your local community, trust me, you can if you just get out of your comfort zone. So reach out to people and just go out and do it. No one else will do it if you don't. So thank you for having me. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, Josh.
Wow.
That was man, I love the whole thing. My favorite part was the hackathon part. Showing all those pictures of you guys creating innovation. I don't know, it's just really inspiring for me personally.
Dude, whenever I speak to Josh, I'm always inspired. It's like I remember when I first spoke to him, it was back like at the beginning of the program, like last year, and I remember I saw his Insider application or Insider to Campus video, and I was like, wait, I remember you from somewhere, and this was just some person I was like on the phone call with, and I was like, what in the world? Like, I've seen you before. I was like, do you remember this, Josh? This is months back. You there, Josh?
Man.
I just got left hanging. Joshua.
Josh?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I'm here. Yeah.
That's awkward. I know.
I got any questions from the audience. Thank you, man.
Anyway.
Well,
So yeah, we have a bunch of questions. So
is there a question in the chat? If not, I have a question for Josh.
Yeah, so we can start off for first question, which was how do the accomplishments of your fellow MSPs impact or inspire you?
Pardon?
How do the accomplishments of your fellow MSPs impact or inspire you?
Okay, so like after the summit and seeing at the summit, I was able to hear what other MSPs were able to do, and for me, when I was starting out, it was really heavy. It was really a lot, like balancing schoolwork, balancing my personal life, and then the MSP load. But every time I saw what other MSPs were able to achieve, despite the fact they were also students, that also gave me the motivation to do it. I felt I wasn't alone. So another MSP achieving, or rather having that impact in their communities, that was a motivation for me also to have the impact in my community. I felt I wasn't alone doing this.
Awesome. We have Eric, do you want to ask your question?
Well, I just want to follow up on that previous question. I think this is something that not only Goat MSPs work with, but also just MSPs in general, and even just people who want to become leaders in their community, right? You see other people doing some amazing stuff. Are you supposed to be jealous about it? Are you, what's your reaction? And for me personally, even just Sal, I see Sal posting all the time on Teams, right? And Sal's one of the most amazing MSPs that I know of. And he's just
Yeah.
this really active guy. He's really passionate about his community. And sometimes it makes me think, hey, you know what? I probably am not as active as Sal, but what are some ways I can, contribute to my community? Because Sal, you're honestly an inspiration for a lot of people.
Nah, dude, no. The thing is, I find inspiration in every single person, right? There's this quote I read when I was like 11 years old, and I always mention this. This is something like I will always reference when I go back and looking at things, Even when I was posted about the internship thing, I was like, there's this quote, right? And it's like one of them is to always grow, be like a tree. So trees will die, when they die, that's the end of their growth. But whilst they're alive, they will continue to grow forever. Okay. Another quote is these aren't quotes, but they're like paraphrases. One of them is, every person you meet, you can learn something from them. Doesn't matter who they are, doesn't matter what level you're at, doesn't matter what status, if you're a CEO, if you're a student, if you're just a baby, you can learn from anyone. I can learn from a baby. The way they see the world is completely different to how I see the world. So, there's no way, that you should ever like think, that you know it all and stuff like that. And that's the way I like to see everyone. There's so many, everyone here, everyone I've met is truly inspirational. You just have to like talk to them, see what the story is about. And Eric himself, I'm so glad we're now working together along with different MSPs here in Sundaveshwar and Vedant. Many MSPs, we're working together on this mentorship program thing, and it's truly amazing to just work with such amazing people. Eric, I've always wanted to do stuff with you and run these amazing events. So, to me, you're an inspiration, and so is everyone else to me.
Aw.
Sorry, I just turned that into my own speech.
Yeah, before we get all teary-eyed.
Yeah, I just went all emotional.
So,
right. I've seen questions on the chat. I've seen 2 questions on the chat, and I'll just like to answer them very quickly.
yes.
So,
Sure.
someone asked like, how did I manage when things weren't 100%? And how would say like that, like when I organized those events and 200 people RSVP'd and only 8 people turned up, and you have Microsoft employees there. There's always one slogan that I've always made, ensured like, once you have organized an event as a student community tech lead, whether regardless of the number of people that attend, ensure that people that attend, they leave that place with that motivation. They get what they came for. Not just because only 8 people showed up, we decide there's not going to be an event. Funny thing is that we still did the event with the 8 people and followed the agenda. Like, we had planned to do this and this and this. And we stuck to that, because I believe like, okay, it's only the 8 that came, and then those are the 8 that I need to have an impact on, because my goal was not focused on like, okay, I need to have an impact on the whole country. My focus was I need to have an impact to the students that really need it. So if it's the 8 that really needed that impact, it's the 8 that really needed to hear from me, to get to learn from me. Those were the 8 that I would deal with. So like, I not focus on the numbers, but I really focused on the people that had interest. And one last person, someone asked how I was able to keep focus. Man, it's not easy, but like, you have to be you have to structure up your day. Like, have a task list, have a to-do list, and you have to follow them. And sometimes there's no need of having a to-do list if you're not going to follow it in the first place. So for me, I always have that. My calendar is always well arranged, and my to-do list is always in place. So like, I always know I have to achieve A, B, C, D by the end of the day, by the end of the week, by the end of the month. So, it's just having that small plan, having an orderly plan, and, focusing on what you really want. Thank you.
Awesome.
When it's good, it's amazing. When it's bad, it's uneasy. I wouldn't have it another way. There's no other way. Yeah. When it hurts like this, I like when it hurts.